Okay, so this is more practice on elimination method. I had you guys vote on which problem you wanted me to do in this video, and it was a tie between number 6 and number 8, so I've decided I'm just going to do both. Okay, so we're going to start with number 6. Alright, so remember when you're doing elimination, the first thing you should do is see if anything will cancel if you add them. So we know that in front of the x's here, we got -1. Okay, well if we add -1x plus -1x, that would be -2x, which does not cancel. And in front of the y here, we have a 1, so 5y plus 1y is 6y, so that didn't cancel either. So we have to do something to one of these equations so that something will cancel. Now remember, the goal is to get either the x's or the y's to have the same number in front of them, but have opposite signs. So if you look at the x's, we already have -1 and -1. So if one of those was positive, then we would be done and it would work. So what I'm going to do is, to change a negative to a positive, you just multiply everything by -1. So I'm going to do that, it really doesn't matter, I'll do it to the bottom equation. Multiply everything by -1. Right, so the top one's not going to change, so I'm just going to recopy -1x plus 5y equals 18. And now I'm multiplying everything by -1. So we got -1 times -1, which is positive 1x. And then -1 times 1y is -1y. And -1 times 2 is -2. Okay, so now we should be able to add, and this time something should cancel. So it does. -1x plus 1x cancels out. 5y plus -1y is 4y. And 18 plus -2 is 16. Okay, so now we can divide by 4 on both sides, and you get y equals, well, 16 divided by 4 is 4. And now you just plug that answer back in for y, and you can find your x. So it doesn't matter which equation, so I'm just going to use the bottom one, -x plus, remember that's a -1x, plus y equals 2. Well, what is y? We just found y is 4. So I'm going to put a 4 here. Okay, now we have to start solving for x. So I'm going to subtract 4 from both sides. Got -1x equals 2 minus 4 is -2. Last step, divide both sides by -1. You get x equals -2. Oh, sorry, that's positive 2. And our answer as a coordinate point is 2, 4. Okay, so that's number 6. The other one you guys wanted me to go over is number 8. So I'll go down to that one. This one's definitely probably the most challenging, because if you look at the numbers in front of the x's and the numbers in front of the y's, nothing's the same this time. Like in the last problem, we had -1 and -1 for the x's. So we had something to work with there. This one we have to try a little bit harder. If we look at the x's, we have 12 and 6. So is there something we could multiply either of those numbers by so that they end up being the same number? Well, I know that, let me do this on the side here. I know that 6 times 2 would give me 12, right? So if I could multiply this whole bottom equation by 2, then both of the x's will have the same number in front. But remember, we need one of them to be a negative. So instead of multiplying it by 2, I'm going to multiply it by -2. And that should get us what we need. So let's try it and you'll see how that'll work. We're going to multiply the whole bottom equation by -2. All right, so I'm leaving the top one for now. So we have 12x minus 5y equals 11. Now we're going to do -2 times 6x. So that's going to get us -12x, which is exactly what we wanted, because now the x's are going to cancel. Okay, so then we do -2 times -8y. So -2 times -8 is positive 16y. And then -22 times that -2 is going to get me positive 44. Okay, so this is what we wanted, because now when we add, 12x plus -12x is going to cancel. Okay, so that's what we wanted. So it kind of takes a little bit of thinking, a little bit of number sense, right? You want to try to figure out what you could multiply anything by so that you end up with numbers that are exactly the same but opposite signs, like we have right here. Okay? So now all that's left is to solve. So we know that the x's cancel. So we have -5y plus 16y. That's going to get us 11y. And then we have 11 plus 44. That's 55. Okay, we're going to divide both sides by 11. Y equals 55 divided by 11 is 5. Okay, so now we plug our y value in and to find our x value. So I'm going to use, I'll use the bottom equation. 6x minus 8y equals -22. Well, we know that y is 5, so I'm going to have 6x minus 8 times 5 equals -22. Now let's simplify a little bit. We know that 8 times 5 is 40, so we have 6x minus 40 equals -22. We're going to add 40 to both sides. So that'll cancel. We get 6x equals -22 plus 40. That gets us 18. And then we divide by 6. We get x equals 3. Okay, so we have our two answers. We write them as a coordinate point. 3, 5. Okay, so that's more elimination practice for you guys. All right. So if you have more questions on any of the other problems, I know they're each a little bit different, so make sure you ask them, email me, whatever. Okay. Number 7 is very similar to number 8. You kind of have to find a trick, what's going to work. Okay. So make sure you try that. All right. And email me if you need.